ABC News, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
I hear you great. Good morning. Likewise, I want to introduce you both to our ABC News audience. Dr. Kate Rubins, you are a second-time astronaut up at the space station. You're there for 6 months, and you are accompanied by U.S. Navy Commander Victor Glover, your first time in space. Commander, you're the flight engineer up there. So I want to start by welcoming you guys and telling you how thrilled I am to have this opportunity to speak with you. First of all, how is it going up there, and how are you feeling physically?
That's a great question, Dr. Ashton. I am enjoying every second of it, even things like moving a bag from one place to another. In the middle, I try to remember that I'm doing it in microgravity, and so I won't be able to do this forever, so I enjoy every moment that I'm up here. And I feel great. I actually really enjoy the fact that we just get to float around. All the work activities we do them floating, and it doesn't get old.
Is in cancer biology, but your research centered around HIV integration, and you truly are an expert in all things virus related. So what's your impression on what's going on with the COVID pandemic, and how are you guys staying safe up there? What are your COVID protocols?
Yeah, that's a great question. COVID's affecting everything, including NASA and very specifically our launch preparations. So we have a health stabilization program before we launch. So all the astronauts go into quarantine, a soft quarantine around 3 weeks before launch and a hard quarantine at 2 weeks before launch. This time their families quarantined with them. I launched out of Kazakhstan, so I actually couldn't even have any family or friends travel. And we just keep everybody very safe by keeping them in isolation for at least 2 full weeks. We also did a lot of testing. That's critically important for our launch program, was the testing phase of it, to ensure that anybody who's launching to the space station is COVID negative, all of their close contacts are COVID negative, and we repeated those tests several times before launch, and that's been a successful program so far. And of course, we were all wearing masks pretty much anytime I stepped outside my front door from about April or May on. I was in a mask on Earth. I think all my crewmates were as well. So that was really probably the #1 thing we did to prevent COVID from coming to the International Space Station. It was really a combination of testing and masks, and I'm sure we'll see at some point in the future this start to match up with some of the vaccine programs that we have going.
Up there during our presidential election, and Dr. Rubins, you voted in space. How was that for you?
Yeah, it's really a wonderful process. You know, we say as astronauts up here, it's really a privilege to vote from space, but we also consider it's an honor, but we consider it an obligation. It's a duty. It's one of the wonderful things that legislation has allowed us to participate in our civic process from space. And I think everybody up here takes that privilege really seriously. We know it's our right as an American citizen, and we just think it's wonderful to be able to exercise that right from space.
And Commander Glover, you are a parent. You are helping your children with their homework from space, which definitely earns you extra points. How is that going? And silly question, but is there a time difference? How do you manage that?
So it's going slowly. I thought I would be able to be a little more involved. The time difference is 6 hours for right now, and so they are generally not awake when I get up, and then when I check in the middle of the day, they're getting started with their homework or their schoolwork. So by the time they're doing homework, I'm usually ending my day, and so it's been a challenge. But the good thing is I have 4 daughters, and they are all able to help each other, and mom is home to help them out. So that it's been working out, and they all finished finals this past week, and they're on break now. So, but I'm around to help them out if they need it, and I love doing it. That's one of the things I really miss being up here.
It might be a little bit of a vacation being up there at the space station. I want to ask you also, Commander Glover, obviously the dad of 4 daughters, your children are obviously incredibly proud of you, but what do you think the message that they're getting from seeing you work with Dr. Rubins is in terms of educating and encouraging girls in STEM fields?
That's a great question, and I hope that they're seeing how important it is to attain a formal education as well as an informal education inside and outside the classroom, but to work hard. Achieving your dreams is one step at a time. She didn't just show up here on the station for a second time. There was a very long process of training that she went through to get here, as well as her previous career, like you mentioned, being an expert in infectious diseases and how to cure them. So I hope that they are inspired by that, and that they're also not daunted by the work. It is a lot of work. We have all worked very hard to get to this point, but it's worth it. Like I said, I'm enjoying every moment being up here, and I hope that they find that encouraging and inspiring.
As you know, we have just 4 minutes left. I want to do a deep dive on one of the specific areas of scientific research that I know you're studying up there at the International Space Station, the effect on heart cells, the cardiac myocyte cardinal heart study. Obviously, there are big effects of microgravity and gravity on the body. What can you tell us about what you've learned so far?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this study actually started out in 2016. The last time I was up here was the first round of growing cardiomyocytes. That was the first time we were able to grow cells for this really long duration in space and see how they're affected by microgravity. We know from a human side that there's a lot of challenges in our cardiovascular system. We're seeing blood flow reversed. There's a really interesting paper out about some potential clotting. So we're definitely worried about the vascular system. And your heart definitely changes on board. We've studied this for a number of years. Studying the cells and cell culture actually allows us, these are samples from patients. We have some healthy tissue, we have some diseased tissue, and we can study the contractile function, so how they beat on orbit. And Victor has seen this. When we do the microscopy for these experiments, we can watch them beat on board. And the difference this time is that we're actually able to do more different types of cells and cultures. So we can take a look at not only just the cardiomyocytes, but we can look at the fibroblasts surrounding them. And this is a mix of several tissues. So it really much more replicates the actual human heart and that real tissue in human heart. So we're taking a lot of data and a lot of samples. We're going to learn a ton from the gene expression. We're looking at protein samples from this. And then, of course, we're studying the contractile motion. So I expect there to be a lot of papers forthcoming, and we'll definitely keep you posted on findings.
I look forward to staying with it. And thanks for sharing a little of that with us. So in the 2.5 minutes we have left, I want to take it to some fun questions. Obviously, holidays are approaching. How do you guys celebrate the holidays that you observe up there in space? How will you celebrate New Year's?
Yeah, so I don't know if you've heard, but we've got a little contest ongoing with Mission Control in Houston. We're going to see who can make the better Christmas decoration to be announced on Christmas Eve, who the winner is. And we have to get creative up here. You know, we have limited resources in space. I haven't debuted it yet, but I made myself an elf hat out of part of a T-shirt and some duct tape, so my crewmates will get to enjoy that on Christmas morning. And we haven't got to New Year's yet. Right now, we're trying to to find red and green things for Christmas.
On behalf of us here at ABC News, and I do think I share the sentiments of everyone here on Earth in the United States, I want to thank you, Dr. Kate Rubins, U.S. Navy Commander and Flight Engineer Victor Glover. Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you're doing up there. Stay safe. And thank you so much for this time. I know you have a busy day. Stay well.
Thank you. You stay safe down there, and happy holidays to all of you.